Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Tutorials. This is the how to join tutorial for this adorable blanket. I do have a couple of photos that I'll include as we go along to show you exactly what I did. I did mention, I believe, in the diamond tutorial that I made 92 of these diamonds, and they are massive. This is a queen size blanket. So what I did to create this is I made the diamonds and then I laid them out on my bed, my queen bed. So just to get the size right, and so I knew that I had the right number of diamonds. And then because I'd laid them out, I was able to calculate how many of the little triangular pieces like this and the side pieces that I needed to actually complete it. Once I'd gotten the correct amount of pieces, I laid them out on the bed again to make sure that I had them all in their correct order. I didn't want, a pink one to be sitting right next to a pink one, although you can see that there is a pink and an edge pink here. And there is one place, I think, where there's two yellows on the edge. But anyway, we can't all be perfect, can we? So I just wanted to make sure that the colours alternated correctly. So what I did, and I've got a photo of it here, is that I laid all my diamonds out, and in their diagonal lines, so you don't want the vertical lines, the diagonal lines of diamonds, which I may be able to zoom out a little bit. So on the diagonal lines of diamonds, I essentially laid them out on the bed and then collected them in their diagonal lines and in order threaded them onto knitting needles, and I numbered all of those piles. So I believe I had 14 rows of diamonds. And some of those rows only had 2 or 3 diamonds in them, others had a lot more than that. But that's how I kept them all together. And then I started by just joining those rows together. So this one row of diamonds here, I just joined along that one edge. So how to do that with this particular stitch, because what I've used is half double crochet here, and this is a particularly good join for anything really that's worked in rows. It wouldn't be good for things that are worked in rounds unless you've got nice gaps like a granny square. But things that are worked in rows that have a stitch at the end, a place at the end of each row where you can actually position these stitches. So you can see that the stitches, the half double crochets actually go into the ends of the rows, and when you've got your diamond piece, you've got this gap at the top here between your 2 double crochets, and it's the same at the bottom, and of course your stitches for your joining go in there. So essentially what happens is you can see that the diamonds sit with the top of one diamond being right next to that last round of the increase, or the first round of the decrease, and that's the same with the bottom of the diamond in relation to the next. So all I did was I'd get all my diamonds that are in this diagonal line, and starting at one end, just start with the half double crochet, sort of starting here, half double crochet. I put 2 half double crochets into each row. So 2 half double crochets, a chain 1, 2 half double crochets in the next row, a chain 1, 2 half double crochets in the next row, and just keep going until I get to that middle position. And then imagine this is a full diamond, and then join that next one to it there. So that is essentially how I went. And then once I get to the middle again of that diamond, then join another one in. So that's how, just down one side, I did that. And then I'm going to actually be completely honest with you. This was a quite labour intensive project, because once I had joined all the diagonal columns, I then needed to lay them out again and place these side pieces and additional gap pieces in, and make sure that I had all the right numbers. And then it's hard to transport, and I didn't want to muddle any of the columns around, because obviously I'd ruin the placement of the different colours. And because I've got 15 colours in this blanket, which you'll see in the photos. And yeah, it was actually quite a mission. But once all of these diamonds I did their left edges, so just the left edges of all of the columns, I was able then to come in and attach the right edge of the diamond to the left edge that's already in. So just working in these the lines that follow this direction, ignoring this cross at the moment. This is just how I did this particular one. And I'll just show you here. This is a piece that the only piece that I haven't joined yet. And I've just left this to show you exactly what I'm talking about. These have already been joined across that particular join. That's my diagonal join that I was talking about earlier. And these are my cross joins. So basically, the left-hand side of all of these diamonds were just sewn together by hand to put them into their long strands. And then once they were in their long strands, I joined the strands together by coming in on the other side and joining to this. And I'll show you exactly how to do that. But in each row, there is 2 half double crochets and a chain 1. And then we just join from the other side by doing the 2 half double crochets and slip stitching into that chain 1 position. So to do that, you just need a piece of your joining yarn on a hook, and I just go into any corner. So because I'm on you can see that this is the bottom corner of the diamond, but this is a side corner of the diamond. So I've already placed my half double crochets in that one. So I need to go into here now to make that my first joining position. And then I'm just going to join on with a slip stitch, which is my preferred joining yarn joining method. You may have a different method. I chain 1 to get to the height of a half double crochet, and then just put 2 half double crochets into that row. And then, because I don't want to join over here yet because there's nothing to join to, so I'm just going to chain 1 and go into the next row and put 2 half double crochets, chain 1 and 2 half double crochets in the next row. And I'll just keep doing that along. I've only got 10 rows here for the half of the diamond, so it shouldn't take me long to get to the end. And went into the top of the stitch then instead of the actual row. go, that's better. Just chaining one between the pairs of half double crochets. Chain one, chain one, and once we get to the top here, this is the final row of this diamond, you'll see that what we've got is this kind of junction, this intersection between the other direction of travel, the other direction of joining. All I do is just go in under here because I know that there's two sides to this. There's the join that I did along one side of the diamond, and there's the join that I came along and did on the other diamond. So I know that there's two sides. So I'm just going to go in between them, and I'm going to slip stitch to that. And then I go in between them again and slip stitch to the other side. And then I'm going to go into, I've only actually put one half double crochet, oh no, that's two. So I'm going to go and slip stitch in there. You kind of just have to wing it because it depends on what you've done before, but essentially it'll be the same anyway. And then I'm just going to slip stitch into that one. Chain one again and begin my half double crochet, chain one pattern up the side here. And I'm only going to chain one in between these half double crochets on this edge, because when I come back and join the other edge to this, I'll be slip stitching instead. So chain one and two half double crochets, chain one, two half double crochets, chain one. As I said, this is a particularly good method for anything that's made in rows. It wouldn't really work for things made in rounds because you'd be wanting to go into every stitch if you were made, if your block was made in rounds. And then we're on, our final row for that. So just getting to the end here, what I tend to do is come in and slip stitch to as much of this as I can. I don't know if you can see that. As much of that as I can, just slip stitch in there to hold that back. And then I'm going to need to turn, and so I'll slip stitch into the opposite corner. So these are my two diamonds sitting side by side here. I've just come out of this corner and I've slip stitched into this intersection. Now I'm going to slip stitch into the opposite side of that and turn so I can work the other way. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to chain one again to get to the height of a double crochet or a half double crochet, and I'm going to do two half double crochets into that same space. But then I'm going to come and find the gap between these two bunches of half double crochets, so this chain one space, and I'm going to just slip stitch into it. And then without chaining or anything, I'm just going to come straight back and do two half double crochets into the next row, and then find the corresponding chain one space on the other side and slip stitch. And I've done it again. I've gone into that little place that isn't actually the row. There we go. Slip stitch across to that next chain one space, and two half double crochets in the next row and join to the next chain one space. And that is all this join is. It's so simple, but so effective on these diamonds. Slip stitch across, two half double crochets, and slip stitch across. And then, I won't be a second, I'll just rearrange the blanket so you can see it better. Okay, that's better. I'm not fighting against it. All right, so we've just slip stitched into that chain one space. And then we just need to complete the two half doubles in the next row and slip stitch into the chain one, two half doubles in the next row, slip stitch into the chain one, and just keep going along doing the two half double crochets on one side and slip stitching into the next. And where are we? And then in this final one, I'm just going to slip stitch straight into the intersection here. And then again, go across. And I just slip stitch across that intersection just because it's less noticeable than a single crochet, and I don't like to chain across it because it'd leave kind of loopy chains. So then slip stitch into the next position, chain one, and put in our two half double crochets and slip stitch to that first chain one in on the other side. And it really is as simple as that. Slip stitching to the chain one space and putting two half double crochets per row, slip stitch to the chain one. And just continuing until you get to the end. I'll be back when I'm there. Okay, so I've just made my last half double crochets and slip stitched across, and all I'm going to do to finish is come straight in to the intersection, and you can see because I've already woven in ends and all sorts of things from there, it's quite dense, but anywhere you can get in, just slip stitch and finish off. And that is how to do that join. And you can see that there's a fair bit of flex in it. It has a whole heap of dexterity that enables you to kind of manipulate the blanket, but nevertheless it actually frames all of these diamonds in the most magical way. I just lost my train of thought because I was looking for my scissors thinking where did they go when I rearranged this blanket? I have absolutely no idea. I am going to be putting a pom-pom border on this very appealing little multicolored blanket. As you can see, I've already come through because there's the half double crochet on the edges. I went around anything I didn't have to join, like these edges. I went around and did the same thing with the two half double crochets, chain one along the edges. And then I've just come in and put a double crochet row around that, and I'll be attaching, I'll be creating my pom-pom border on that. I thought that this fun blanket with 15 different colours in it deserves a fun border. So I'll be doing the pom-pom border video next. I do hope you use this join. As I say, it is really only good for things that are made in rows, but it is perfect for these diamonds. And it's also really good for any of your granny squares that are just made in rows and not rounds. So any block you use in rows, this. And of course you can use single crochet instead of half double crochet, but I like half double. It has a little bit more of a presence than single crochet. All right, thank you so much for joining me. Any questions, please feel free to pop them in the comments and I will do my best to answer. Otherwise, have yourself a wonderful day and I'll see you next time.